story and perspective do you want to share with the world through your creative life? This episode is all about how you can answer that question through your own modern creative life. Welcome to The Modern Creative Woman, exploring the art and science of creativity. I am your hostess and creativity expert, Dr. Amy Backos. Let's get started. So, are you a modern creative woman? A modern creative woman actively engages in creative perspectives and pursuits. She expresses herself through her life, in her work, home, parenting, cooking, style, writing, art, and in every aspect of her life and community. She knows she is the one who can do it the way that she does, and nobody else can. A modern creative woman embodies her unique values, aspirations, and experiences of her contemporary life. She embraces her individuality, challenges traditional roles, and seeks to make her unique impact in her creative life. I wanted to share with you a little bit about some of the key characteristics that I think of when describing a modern creative woman. She is, of course, a woman who is committed to self-expression. She uses her creativity as a means to express her thoughts, her ideas, emotions, and her unique, one-of-a-kind perspectives in unique and innovative ways. And when I think about self-expression, we often get stifled in this. And it sometimes even becomes difficult to give our own opinion. I thought of one way that we can really start to express our wishes and our desires. It's a really small start, but I think you'll find an incredible sense of self-expression shows up around the area of gratitude. Now you can ask your family at the end of the day what their favorite part of the day was, and then tell them your favorite part of the day. Just giving your opinion in that way gives you the opportunity to share what you most desire. It's a slow, easy way into expressing your opinion. So if you're a little rusty on expressing your opinions, if you are a little bit out of practice about knowing what you desire, start small and start with what you're grateful for. The second thing I think about as a modern creative woman is we focus on self-empowerment and empowering other women. And knowing that our liberation is tied up with that of other people all around the world, we use our creative life to simply acknowledge that this is an important aspect of being a woman. We might challenge societal norms, advocate for gender and other equality, and certainly thinking about female empowerment and cultural humility. One way that we might do this is education around local, state, and national politics. It requires not just agreeing with your family or agreeing with the newspaper or taking in information from one source and believing it. It truly requires the psychological challenge of asking yourself, what do you truly believe in? What matters to you? And then acting on it. The third piece that really seems most important to a modern creative woman is around collaboration. And she recognizes the value of collaboration and actively seeking out partnerships and networks with other women, fostering a sense of community and support. And a hallmark of cultural humility, of course, is seeking mutually beneficial relationships. And I use this idea of mutually beneficial relationships when I worked at a university, and I collaborated with an organization called Vienna Broad and scheduled and went on international trips with students to offer art therapy to women and children living in extreme poverty. It benefited my students because they could learn about applying art therapy in a wide variety of contexts. They could have the experience of working with women and children. And that agency placed us where we could be most helpful. They offered us the opportunity to connect with different areas of Nicaragua and Costa Rica to really show up with what we had to offer, and they would place us in a place that it was going to be helpful. The fourth area that embodies a modern creative woman is thinking about new technologies or new contemporary approaches. And it's about creating fresh and original pieces for yourself. And that might be simply trying new food and new restaurants. It's trying something new. It also means carrying on traditions that you like and letting go of ones that you dislike. And that's often the work of psychology, is unpacking our past and deciding what we want to carry forward with us. So innovation means that we're willing to try new things. We are certainly willing to experiment. Another important piece of a multidisciplinary approach to what we're talking about here is a modern creative woman explores various artistic and creative disciplines and just blending different things together to create a hybrid or interdisciplinary work. And a lot of times what we end up doing just kind of defies categorization. And it's okay if there's not a name for what you're doing. It's unique to you. You don't need to be an artist. You just need to be yourself. And that all by itself is a extremely creative and brave act. And finally, another piece that is very important in being a modern creative woman is social and cultural awareness. And a modern creative woman uses her voice to address social, cultural, political issues. It might be that you're interested in raising awareness and advocating in some way for positive change. And that looks different for everyone. You can make a small positive change when you order your donut at the bakery. You can make a change in the culture at your work or in your home. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk more specifically about the ways that I've identified over my career that allow us to be creative. And there's 5 ways that really resonate with me over my time working with women, understanding myself and understanding other women. And the first one is self-compassion. And to really allow your life to be authentic and creative and make space for yourself, it requires self-compassion. And that means speaking kindly to ourselves, patiently redirecting ourselves as we figure out how we want to be. We need to be easygoing about how fast we're moving. We need to be realistic about rest and work and be able to reflect. For people working in social justice, self-compassion requires the big perspective that this is a relay race. It's not a marathon. It's not about one person doing all the work. It's about sharing the baton with many people. And that level of self-compassion gives us the opportunity to rest. The second thing that sticks out to me in helping women be our most creative selves is our mindset. And here's where you can use your creativity in every aspect of your life. You could be working on your spreadsheets or balancing your checkbook. It's how we relate to our thoughts. And we can creatively learn to relate to our thoughts in new ways. It requires seeing thoughts for what they are. They are just thoughts. One neuron firing across a synapse to another neuron. This awareness frees up so much time and psychological energy for the things that we do want to bring into our lives. The third attitude that really helps us become our most creative self is developing what I call a powerful presence. And that means creating a really gentle internal environment of present moment awareness. It's getting into contact with what's happening in the moment and seeing it realistically. It also means that we share ourselves with others, and we always save some energy for ourselves. We don't exhaust ourselves taking care of others. We create healthy environments by attending to our mental and physical needs, our nutrition, rest, friendship, education, and fun. And when we take care of ourselves in that way, only then can we give from the heart to others and allow them to see our lived example. And we then can give in a way that feels good and true and bountiful. The fourth aspect that I've seen so many women lose sight of is their own meaning and purpose. And a modern creative way to think about this is doing what we do with great intention. It involves certainly committing to a lifelong process of learning, cultivating gratitude, as I mentioned earlier, and expressing ourselves. We can make ourselves sick if we don't express. We can turn our body into a ball of knots if we're not able to be who we want to be. Meaning and purpose is not something you discover. It's not just waiting to be found. It's a decision that we make. And we can also look for and really manifest joy in our meaning and purpose. And one really satisfying way to express our meaning and purpose is deciding how we want to connect with others. And the fifth aspect that I have seen so much benefit in my own life and in the lives of other women is around authenticity. And it means that we show up for ourselves as our true selves. And we allow our interests and our talents and our joyful example just to be gifts to ourselves and to others in our community. It also means that we have to figure out new opportunities to express ourselves and really share our authentic lives with other people. I also thought this episode might be a good opportunity for me to introduce myself to you. So I'm Dr. Amy Backos, a licensed psychologist, and I'm a board-certified art therapist and creativity expert. And since I was a child, I have loved making art and writing, and these days I knit and I paint a lot with watercolor. I'm a mom. I've been married for almost 30 years. My dream is really to make the world a better place through creativity. When I was probably 14 or 15, I came across the word service, and it just stuck in my head, and I felt so called to do something to be of service to others. I've authored 3 books on the subject of creativity and art therapy, and I founded the Modern Creative Woman to help women be our best for ourselves, for all of the people in the world who depend on us, and to help us elevate our communities. So I've been a therapist over 25 years, and my main focus has been on post-traumatic stress disorder. And along with that comes substance abuse. I've also worked with polytrauma, so people who've experienced brain damage, PTSD, and substances, plus chronic pain. So the complexities and the layers of how people recover from this to be the people that they want to be has been my main focus. I've worked and trained at 2 VA hospitals as an intern and a resident and as a research associate. I've also worked at the Cleveland Rape Crisis Center, where I learned how to put feminism into practice in the workplace. And I've also worked at several women's clinics. I was chair of the graduate art therapy psychology program in my area for over a decade, and I still teach art therapy to master's and doctoral students, and I love doing that. I've also been working on my own racism since 1995, and I'm really committed to understanding and acting on feminism and learning about cultural humility. I'm part of an anti-racism group, and we've been together over 30 years and sorting through our own experiences and trying to make the world a better place. I want to invite you to really be a part of the Modern Creative Woman. And there's so many ways that you can do that. You can chat with me every Friday at noon on Instagram Live. That's noon Pacific time. Join me here on the podcast, and the new episodes drop every Wednesday. You can also subscribe to the Modern Creative Woman newsletter to get a little dose of creativity in your inbox once a month. You can also find me over on medium.com, where you can read a little bit about what's happening. If you're called to do more of this work, I invite you to join the Modern Creative Woman community. It is a one-of-a-kind membership where women get to hone their creativity and be their authentic selves. It is my pleasure to be a part of this community myself. So now that you know all that you know about creativity, what will you create? Have a wonderful week, and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. And hey, remember to join me over on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at Dr. Amy Bacchus. You can be a friend of the pod and keep the free content flowing for women. And if you have yet to get your copy of the 5 Values of the Modern Creative Woman, hop on over to arttherapycentersf.com and join the email list. You can also find the link in the Instagram, and you can get your free copy of the aspirational principles that you need to live your modern creative life.